on FUgameCrue. Holy smokes!
It's the nurse's ball or nothing.
I'll be honest, your appointment will come at the right time and in the right place.
Losing Lucky was such a shock to my system. I don't think that I'll ever be over losing him.
Lucky was the best person I ever met.
Oh, Cameron! Cameron, they're taking me away! Oh, it's a clean cut on the top half of my body is coming!
Well, I better get out of here!
Oh, don't leave me, no! At least take my legs!
Episódio de hoje: quem são os androides?
I don't even know what's worse, the poor grammar or the fact that you're sexting me at all. Anyway, if you keep it up, I'm gonna have to file a restraining order. Oops, gotta go, Dad. Hey everybody, welcome back to the final part of our Mother series review. I sure hope nothing spooky happens today. Oh, that must be a pizza delivery from our sponsors at Papa Murphy's. Come on in.
Cameron, why did you leave me out there, you dick? Those aliens took my beanie, styled my hair, gave me different pants and different shoes, but you can't see those.
Damn it, that's not the pizza guy, that's just Shane. And I suppose you're gonna act all brave and try to tell us your whole story about how you survived the alien abduction. Ooh.
Well, never mind that. Where's this pizza you mentioned?
Well, according to the time estimate on the Papa Murphy's app you can download on the iTunes store for $1.99 a week, it should be arriving in 3, 2, 1. Pizza delivery for FUgameCrue.
Oh, pizza's here! Oh, here you go. Keep the change, sir. Thanks for the excellent service of delivering the great quality product of Papa Murphy's Pizza.
Alright, let's eat that pie and get this review underway.
Whoa, not so fast, Cam. The best part about Papa Murphy's is you get to cook it yourself.
Wait, why?
I don't know.
Well, what are we supposed to do?
I don't know!
No. Alright, just put it in the oven.
Oh, fuck you! Don't tell me what to do.
Well, the pizza's in the oven now, and it's gonna take a little while before it's ready, so let's dive right into Mother 3 for the Game Boy Advance. Okay, so as you may or may not be aware, Mother 3 has kind of a lot of backstory to it. After Mother 2, or Earthbound, Nintendo and Chikasatsu Toei made one more Mother game and decided not to release it outside of Japan. It sucks, but these things happen fairly often. Naturally, fans of the series who can't speak Japanese weren't particularly happy with this and have been demanding for an official English release ever since. And as of March of 2018, we've still got nothing, despite Lucas being a playable character in the Smash series. Since Nintendo wasn't about to translate Mother 3, a group of fans from Starman.net took it upon themselves to translate it for free for everybody to enjoy. And some people went even one step further by putting the game on physical cartridges, which is what I have because I prefer playing on the original hardware. Maybe Mother 3 just isn't a very good game and people are better off without it like they were with the original Mario 2. So should we be careful what we wish for, or does the world need to see Mother 3? Let's begin. The game starts off with the main character Lucas and his family living a peaceful life. Before long, shit goes down, and I won't spoil anything, but it's a bummer. Mothers 1 and 2 draw you right into the game within the first few minutes, but Mother 3 takes its time a little more and then kicks you right in the dick. Or a vagina, if you have one of those instead. This world is so innocent, they don't even have money, at least not before the aforementioned shit goes down. The fact everything is so peaceful makes it even more impactful to see it all go to hell. The world Lucas lives in is more peaceful and wholesome than most 50s sitcoms, besides maybe that darn Milkman. Another interesting thing about the story is that this game's done in chapters as opposed to being in an open world and having to figure everything out yourself. It's not like things were overly complicated in an open world, but I don't really mind a linear game every now and then. And for something that's supposed to be portable, linear kinda makes more sense. And I'm also very keen on the idea of saving by talking to frogs instead of having to find phones to call your dad. Oh well, at least NES and Nintendo's dads didn't try sexting them all the time like my dad does. Then again, we don't really know that those dads didn't, do we? Fuck it, they probably did. Anyway, the frogs are all over the place and usually partaking in humorous activities as frogs often do. And it makes saving much less of a hassle than it used to be and even act as banks, which I'm not very fond of. If you die in battle, then you lose some of the money you're carrying with you. And since frogs are next to literally every shop in the entire game, why should you ever have money on you at all? It's more of a hassle than anything to have to withdraw money from frogs every time you want to buy something. So why not get rid of the banking system and just not take our money away if we get beaten? Frogs can't be trusted with money anyway, they're greedy little liars.
Oh, Cameron, whoa, come on.
I'd like to apologize for that outburst. I'm normally not, a hateful or angry person, but we all make mistakes. And I'd like your forgiveness.
Stop laughing. It's not funny.
Even though banking hasn't improved all that much from the previous games, saving isn't the only thing better in Mother 3. Almost everything's an improvement from the rest of the series. Before, you almost always had to walk all the way back to towns just to heal up, and if somebody in your party was unconscious, you'd have to make 2 trips by stopping at a hospital as well as a hotel. Now all you need to do is wait in a hot spring for what the game claims to be 5 seconds, but in actuality, it's probably like 7 or 8. Not only are they free, but sometimes there's a hot dude laying in there. Hell fucking yeah. As convenient as hot springs are, though, it's kind of annoying that they're never located near any bosses. Pretty much every time I did die in this game is because my party was too weak once I made it to the boss. And my only chance at beating bosses with a fatigued party was by using all my items, which you don't get back if you die. Like the second game, if you grind to high levels, enemies will avoid you and even die automatically if you just run into them. Oh yeah, running. That's a thing now. You can run by holding the B button for 3/4 of the Mississippi, and if you bump into stuff, you'll hear the same sound effect that you do when you bump into things playing Pokemon. So that's cool. It's also cool that you name your characters as you go as opposed to being spoiled as to who you're gonna meet at the start of Mothers 1 and 2. I'm sure nobody else besides me cares about a detail smaller than my peck, but it's the little things that count. At least that's what my dad always told me. But then again, maybe my fictional dad in these videos isn't the most reliable person. That's right, my real dad hardly ever diddled me in real life, in case you were wondering. Learning new psychic abilities is weird, though. You get the flu seemingly at random, which basically means you temporarily lose the ability to run, and then when you recover, you learn a new psychic power. If a character's unconscious when they get the flu, when they recover, they're revived, so, that's nice. It'd be even nicer if we could still use auto battle, though, to make grinding move along a little more quickly. But auto battle also made boss fights a little easier in Mother 2 when you were in situations where you had to think fast with the rolling counter health bar. And grinding isn't really necessary in this game anyway, so I won't count it as a negative. Despite grinding no longer being a necessity, though, there's still more grinding in this game than in the Tony Hawk series.
You already said that joke, man.
If you just play through the game and only fight what you come across, you're always going to be strong enough to beat the bosses, and the challenge is perfect here. It's pretty exhilarating finding yourself in sticky situations, like receiving mortal damage and quickly trying to heal your party members before their health counters run out while still trying to do damage and not giving the bosses a chance to heal. And to spice things up just an ass hair more, you can get extra attacks in if you press the A button to the rhythm of the music. But I never really figured it out and found myself pressing the A button at random, hoping I'd get lucky. Maybe it's easier to do than I think, but I kinda don't like it since I'd rather just make my moves and put my thumb up my ass as the battle animations go about their business. The battle animations, for the most part, are still left to your imagination with the more vague and silly enemy attacks, but I wouldn't have it any other way since your imagination is probably more powerful than anything the developers could have come up with. As to be expected, the enemies are as fun as ever, but the actual characters are way more interesting now than ever before, even the bad guys. I liked the characters in Mother 1 and Earthbound, but anyone who was playable just kind of appeared, introduced themselves, and didn't really say much for the rest of the game. Everybody in Mother 3 has an interesting story, motivation, and all-around dialogue, whether they're trying to be serious or funny, and they always achieve whichever they're going for. Even the dog Boney has plenty of character, despite not being able to talk. Just look at him disguise himself as a human. As dark as this game is, it never forgets the comedy. You never really know what kind of shenanigans will occur. Funny things even happen when you open boxes. And need I remind you of the frogs? Fucking assholes. Some people might not appreciate how short the game is, but that only appeals to me even more since I like to finish games and move on. The first 2 games do a better job at hooking you right off the bat, but this game really blew me away, and once I got to around Chapter 7, my mind was made up that this is my favorite in the series. Mother 3 for the Game Boy Advance gets a 13 out of 13.4. Even if it's not everybody's favorite Mother game, I doubt any fan of the series would claim this to be a bad game. So that begs the question, why didn't Nintendo bring this to America? Earthbound, or Mother 2, sold 50% as well in the US as it did in Japan, so what reason is there to not bring Mother 3 to the rest of the world? I won't believe that it wasn't worth the effort for Nintendo to translate it. If a small group of fans without a source code can subtitle and reprogram the text in the game themselves while probably working normal jobs, then how can a billion-dollar company who does pretty much nothing else besides make video games not do it? Even if they made a limited run, it still would have been profitable, would it not have? Why is it that Nintendo of America, Nintendo of Europe, and Nintendo of Kepler 492b seem to hate this game so much? They translated Mother 1 into English and didn't even bother to release it. To be fair, the second game got all the bells and whistles with the oversized size box and all that. Yeah, it only sold about half as much in America as it did in Japan, and while those numbers aren't impressive, these games were really only intended for Japan in the first place. And most of the work that goes into making a game has nothing to do with typing the text out. So since when is 1 to 5% more work not worth at least an extra 50% profit? Even though there probably is a little more work that goes into it that I even know about other than localization and censorship. I don't know about you chaps out there in Britain, but I'm sure Nintendo of America wouldn't show Kumatora sucking an enemy's pee-pee. But even with the localization and censorship, there can't be more than a maximum of 10% extra work involved outside of producing the physical cartridges. Once again, and I can't stress this enough, but independent groups of fans and even individual people translate games from Japanese into English all the time that have far less interest than the Mother series. Who besides me and like 3 other people wanted an English Detective Conan Game Boy game on a physical cartridge? Not to mention that by the time Mother 3 was released, Smash Bros already made a lot of people curious about what the Mother series was in the first place. I'm sure that anybody watching this video who's played a Smash Bros game have heard people ask who Ness was, and then usually somebody in the room says something along the lines of, "Oh yeah, that Ness, he was in a Game Gear game or something. It was an awesome game, you should have played it." A lot of those people would have at least noticed Mother 3 being released and probably had given it a look. Nintendo really blew it by not releasing this game outside of Japan for the Game Boy Advance upon its initial release. And they're still blowing it for not at least releasing it on the eShop yet. Nintendo literally mocked the fans about this, and it feels like I'm the only one who took that as a slap in the face. It'd have been funny to mock us and then announce it right after, but nope, they just made fun of us and that was the end of it. I do think that this game will see an official release outside of Japan because the interest in the series seems like it's at an all-time high, with people only wanting it more and more as time goes on. And a 4th installment in the series is almost certainly not going to happen, with Shigesato Itoi wanting to keep things ended on a high note. And if you haven't played a Mother game before, then trust me, without this man's humor and creativity involved, a Mother game without Shigesato Itoi would feel like a Metal Gear game without Hideo Kojima. So Nintendo doesn't even have to worry about localizing or translating any Mother games in the future, so why not just do it this one last time? They could even just use a fan translation that already exists. The folks at Starman.net nailed it. No typos, no English, nothing. At least not that I noticed. And since kids would never play this anyway, they wouldn't even need to censor anything. And even if kids do end up playing it, nothing in this game that I can recall warrants an M rating. The content's about as mature as a PG-13 movie at worst. So stop being dicks, Nintendo, and just give us Mother 3. But as nice as it would be to see an official release, and as dumb as Nintendo is for not giving us one, I don't see why fans care about it as much as they do. I mean, it's not like Nintendo's gonna put a physical copy out on a Game Boy Advance cartridge at this point, so if they do release it, it's gonna be digitally on the eShop. And if you're gonna play the game digitally anyway, there's emulators and ROMs all over the place where you can play a good translation of it. And if you really, really want a physical cartridge, there's repros all over the place. It's not hard to find. Stop being so butthurt over it. Anyway, how's that pizza coming along, Shane?
It's still not done.
What do you mean it's still not ready? We're contractually obligated to indulge in no more and no less than 1 bite each by the end of this video.
Well, I guess we're gonna lose the deal because we're out of time.
Thanks for watching, and remember to tune in next weekend to watch us enjoy 1 bite of pizza so we can get our royalty checks. This episode's sponsored by Papa Murphy's, who are too cheap and petty to get a fucking oven.
Oh, hey, Cam.
Come on, their pizza's not that good.
It's actually really good.
It's on par with other pizza restaurants, but people just like to feel cool by putting it in the oven themselves, thinking that it somehow makes it taste better. It even costs more than every other pizza restaurant. Papa Murphy's doesn't even have to do the work of cooking the pizza themselves or even buying their own oven.
Yeah, but they do let you use food stamps.
That's true.
So I want to say thank you to your loyalty. Thank you for your support.